My name is Dominique White. I'm an artist and Afrofuturist that is based between Marseille and Essex. And today, actually, and for the next 2 months, I'll be presenting a solo installation, which is from the series called the Hydra, which started in 2021. And the relationship that this work has with the project as a whole is that it's a protest, essentially. It's a work that refuses to be contained. It's a work about resistance. It's about, a persistence of life. It's about a continuation to keep fighting for what you want and what you believe in. And for me, that is fighting towards an alternative future for Blackness in an intangible realm. I would say that is in the sea, as opposed to on land, or as opposed to outer space. In this particular work, I'm specifically talking about a battle between the state and this idea of Blackness. And that doesn't necessarily mean Black people, it means this idea of defying the state. So originally, one of the references for this work is the myth of the Hydra, and how this myth between this many-headed beast and Hercules has been used, as an analogy for the state and this idea of piracy, or this idea of running away or defying, the rules or the confines of the state. So yeah, this is why the series of these works is about, destruction, as opposed to being held in limbo. It's this idea of destroying this container, which is the nation state, and building something new from its ashes. I think upon entering the space is already dimmed, and there'll be like a highlighted, battle in the middle of the room. This kind of object that seemingly is falling apart in front of your very eyes. It's an item or an object or a body that is in the center of the space, that occupies the very center of the story. So it'll be an amalgamation of iron harpoons clambering to contain this kind of volatile shipwrecked entity that is made of kale and clay. So there is this ghostly shroud that is cast across the room. And surrounding this kind of main entity are the kind of broken arms of the many-headed Hydra that will be strung across the room in defeat. It's really important for me that a lot of my work comes from my own hands, even down to casting of iron. The forms that are made with my own hands before they are poured. I really like this being an extension of myself, an extension of this idea of protest beyond an individual towards a more kind of collective process. But there's a lot of destroying materials before I then kind of reconfigure these materials. I think there is the impression that this is just an anomaly, a once in a mistake almost, this work kind of erupts out of nowhere, when there has to be a lot of calculations done to see how much the material can take, how much load it can take, whether the metal will bend or snap, or sometimes when I work with mahogany, how much I can bend and manipulate the materials until they kind of disintegrate. Yeah, I would say I'm a bit of an artistic scientist. It's probably the best way to describe my process. One of the messages that I would like to convey with this work is new possibilities, this new ideas, particularly of futurity, this idea of creating something new that isn't predicted. It's essentially living outside of a system of algorithms, essentially. I want people to really imagine beyond the current confines.